Introducing the first of our featured readers, Creighton Blinn's poetry has been published in the Binnacle, Down in the Dirt magazine, and Census. His prose story, The Fifth Day, has been a serialized hit in the magazine Zenite. Please welcome Creighton Blinn. Here comes Creighton Blinn.
Hey, good evening. First thing I'm going to read for you tonight is, Scattering the Reverential Dust. The adolescents swarm through the old house, filling its intimate spaces once again with their laughter and music, scattering the reverential dust of an older generation who are unwilling to admit that time marches on, that the life of a structure must adapt, as a person's does, that a building cannot isolate itself from the flow of time, and whether we be an object made of inanimate material or a creature of flesh and blood, we must never allow ourselves to become a museum piece, sealed away in airtight plexiglass. Regardless of our age, we may still seize the life around us, never accepting that we have nowhere left to grow. Erosion. As he paces over the pebbles, smooth stones along the shore, he spies a bit of blue lace stuck on some battered driftwood, marooned ashore, quivering in a breeze full of troubled memories, where true words were left unsaid, replaced by trivial grievances, bitter rebukes, unworthy of a spring twilight. These petty complaints remain hanging in the air far longer than is fair, so that even after she is departed, his surroundings remain poisoned. Only gradually do the tides begin their work of wearing away the rough edges, eroding the hurts of the past so that they may injure less in the future, dissolving those words and phrases now so regretted, now so longing to be reclaimed, into that gentle wind, which causes a simple piece of lace to dance with such complexity. Okay. Just some short lines on stumbling about Brighton Rock. No act exists in isolation. Each moment has its own cause and effect, one deed ever leading into the other so that nothing ever ends as we loiter about this old resort town. Literary acknowledgements. I would like to say thank you to all my fellow devotees who still faithfully read books on the subway instead of listening to their iPods or fiddling with their Blackberries. Please, stay true to our faith, as your efforts alone may be propping up what remains of an industry within which I hope one day to find a place. I'm even okay with your reading electronically so long as your text was downloaded legally. And even if not, I may turn a blind eye out of desperation for an audience. Shadows of the evening. safe from blustery winter's weather. We savor the simple pleasures of shared company, the warmth I feel from being at your side as we travel together with the Doors, experiencing myself reconnect with their music, as if I had never stopped listening, as if I remained much closer to my years of adolescence than I, like anyone, ever wished to admit. Still nurturing longings which resonate throughout ages, as when your attention is caught by Morrison's vow of victory for an ensuring revolution of youth which, from the hindsight of our present moment, we know all too well, never arrived. Thus, while your marker glides along the pages of a sketchbook, you muse, "What happened, Jim?" Not wishing to dwell on a subject I feared could puncture my buoyant mood, I volunteered only a glib response, when, in retrospect, the answer was in plain sight, nestled within the song's more poignant promise that no one here gets out alive. Not literally true, perhaps, but too many did pass on too soon, whether in body or spirit, or both. It is the familiar story of a generation increasingly lost amidst the turmoil of its times, witnessing the degradation of a multitude of their best minds, while gradually deserting their nobler intentions for something less ideal, yet more viable. And as I watch the bright lights of our shared evening merge into morning, my thoughts wander to a less well-known observer, whose music I've only more recently uncovered as I chase after my own mature voice. A singer who, when faced with images of tragedy, counseled neither retribution nor revolution, but retreat into your own secret place. A vice he offered not long after Morrison's proclamation, yet as a new decade dawned, bringing forth a changed spirit of which we are the children, a pair of souls searching through cycles, cherishing the joy we find in each other, as well as comfort from the ever-raging storms. Thanks. Waking thoughts. Every story has its twists and turns, its bold and glittery designs. Each tale contains its own insights, triggering those moments where you laugh and cry, the times you smile as you sigh. After all, why there are all those mornings where you rage in anger, there are also the evenings you snuggle in peace, tightly wrapped up in a soothing comforter, a book by a beloved author in hand, while a favorite CD calms your restless mind. And whether alone or complimented by the partner curled up beside you, you grin, content in the thought that everything, at least for this one moment, is going to be okay. Momentum. Hearts beating quicker, and arms gripping tighter, our moist lips clasping, drawing us closer, pulling me further, filling all available space as boundaries melt, a long warm wetness welcoming, guiding, voices gasping, trembling in the heat of passion, bursting. Fan mail. As we watch you up on stage, nonchalantly poised on the edge of a tall stool, I wonder if you remember how it was to be a 10-year-old girl, what you might be thinking as you deliver this performance, which is nothing more than a reading of fan mail from your erotic radio program. You are so cool, striking the proper pose right down to the measured bites of a frosted cupcake. You laugh at one young listener's enthusiasm, her unhip, pre-adolescent frame of mind. Now, it is true that she could be one of the extroverted kids, perhaps even a popular leader of the pack. More likely, however, if she's already consuming your sex show, she's probably a little ahead of the curve, which is never a good sign for acceptance among peers who already snigger at her self-described gawky, bulky frame, without the addition of her fumbling attempts to describe how best to stroke a pussy alone in the privacy of her own room. Try not to be self-conscious. Try not to be afraid of all these strange things bubbling inside, percolating into some uneasy sensation which she cannot help but dwell over, as she summons the necessary courage to face a blank page without the fear of ridicule, but instead possessing the right words to express clearly on paper, I love how my body feels. You taught me that, which her voice could never speak coherently, while resisting the urge to tear sheet after sheet into minuscule pieces, before finally letting go of the compulsion for one more draft, trusting her passion to the post, to your eyes, only to have her outreach mocked to an audience of self-satisfied hipsters, many of whom, it seems, had already drunk enough by that early hour of the evening to have sufficiently forgotten what it was like to be 10 years old. Thank you. Thank you, Kat, for having me here tonight, and thank you, everyone, for listening. I have one more to read, and I would just like to just dedicate it to another person that you'll be hearing from very shortly after me. So, sailing. The ship of love is sailing with the two of us aboard, gazing over the rippling waters, charting our journey of an unknown length towards an unknown destination, of which we pay no heed. For we find joy in what we hold at the moment, treasuring in our memory those days and nights already shared, while looking forward to those to be experienced in the future. We are sure that even when we are not physically together, we're kept warmly in each other's thoughts, in our hearts, and that we remain united as fellow travelers, passengers of this intimate ship, gently bobbing along the waves. Thank you.
Creighton Blinn. Give it up for Creighton Blinn. Okay.